5 lights, and away we go. I think everybody got a decent start there.
That's an insane start from Koushik. Exactly what he would have wanted. Oh, RB Ferraro, he just sneaked onto the inside and he has the P2.
Salvage some points all the way down.
Eccentric sending down the inside on Oxygen, and Oxygen is coming back alongside. Putting his wheels, and he's side by side going around the outside. And I think he's got the move done. Yes, he has got the move. Oh, still there side by side, but it's got the inside line. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 2 of IRC Season 9 Tier 2021. It's me Deepak streaming for you today, and along with me I have SimplyYT with me. Simply, how are you doing?
Doing absolutely fine, Deepak. How are you?
Yeah, really good, doing great. Got a nice weekend ahead of us. Starting off with this Tier 2021 race. So why not let's have a look at the track that you're gonna race at today.
Sure.
So today we're racing. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a 5.3 kilometer long circuit, 2 detection zones, 3 DRS zones with about 16 corners. Very tricky section considering it's the older layout. And let's look at a very quick hot lap from one of our drivers.
So starting down in the main straight, you want to stay as left as possible to open up this first right-hander, clipping the apex and running all the way wide. You want to go all the way to the exit, yellow and green curbs. Then again you want to go as left as possible here to open up this corner to this really tight corner, and then it's going to be another corner in quick succession. You want to keep away from the curbs, and you want to keep as tight as possible to the apex. And here again you want to keep as tight as possible to the right side, left side to open up the corner. And here you want to keep as tight to the right as possible to reduce the length covered. And then on this you want to clip the apex a lot, but barely miss the sausage curb to not lose speed. You want to stay as left as possible and then wash out wide to open up the corner. You want to brake very slightly here and run this corner almost flat, and you want to stick all the way to the right here on the second DRS straight and open up the corner to go facing right. You want to carry a lot of speed through here, and in the second part of this double right-hander you want to carry even more speed, barely braking, and you want to keep the momentum up into this last left hairpin, keeping it slide and get the throttle under control, which can be very tricky here. Getting the throttle under control and getting a smooth exit into the main straight, and that's the lap of Australia.
That was a nice hot lap by RB20, showing us how to tackle this technical track. I would say it's a rather demanding circuit. Just demands absolute perfect concentration from you, and just make a single mistake and it throws you off. And particularly this version of the track is more notorious. What do you think, Simply?
Yeah, definitely, considering that the game hasn't updated with the new track layout since we didn't race the year before here. It's still the same old layout that we had earlier with the chicane. So I think it could throw some people off, since of course it's not an easy corner. The chicane itself, it's still quite tricky. So there could be a few drivers who might just mount the curb a little bit more than they should have, and their car might go spinning from there.
Yep. As you know, the curbs are absolutely lethal on this game, so yeah, could be a lot of stuff happening.
Certainly, and well, it's good to see that we have dry weather throughout, although we would have preferred what happened last week, the interchangeable conditions, but still I think a dry race is still not bad.
Yeah, I mean, last week was an absolute banger of a race to start the season with some good changeable conditions, throwing a lot of strategies. Although yes, we might not have that, but still we do have some really good drivers over here who have practiced quite a lot. So, gonna be interesting to see what these guys could put up today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, regardless of the conditions last week, we still got to see a very exciting race. So I believe that even in a completely dry race, I think these guys will put up a very good and interesting race for us to watch as Envy leaves the pits first. Yeah, coming into the same turn 3, although it has been reprofiled from the 2022 season onwards. The rest of the track is pretty much the same. Getting on board with Envy as he is doing his outlap.
Yeah, so I think you have done both the tracks. I think 22 as well. I think you were on board with some people who are practicing. So how much do you think the track layout change is affecting this?
I mean, the new track layout certainly does promote a lot of really close racing. It changes the setups because some drivers might opt to go for a lower downforce setup just to gain a little bit on the back straight. Although because we have a chicane here today, I think most drivers have gone with a highly downforce setup since it help them through the corners. Since most of these corners here are medium speed. So they really require the car to stick to the ground as they're taking them at the high speed possible.
You see, Envy is about to start his Hotlap. One of the challenges for the season that we have in the top. Let's see what kind of lap he does. Why don't you take us to the lap quickly?
Yes, sure. Riding on board Envy with the DRS, coming into turn 1, braking at just about 50, taking a lot of this curb, making sure you don't stick to the curb on the left hand side too much. Landing on the DRS, coming onto the second straight of this circuit, braking at about 50 meter board yet again. Pretty tricky corner. This one as well, since your car would want to understeer from here, although from here you can go pretty much flat out. This is also flat out, but you don't want to spin on the right hand side. This very slow chicane isn't on the new game. It doesn't does interrupt the racing slightly, but it's still good. Over here, of course, flat out. Then coming into the chicane that was removed. Very tricky third gear, but you have to nail it to get a very good exit onto this slightly long straight, because of course you go up to 8th here. Now coming into this very tricky part of this corner, circuit, 5th gear, he's taken it in 6th, but 5th gear usually does prefer to a bit more rotation. DRS turned on yet again, taking it just after 100 meters. That corner was reprofiled. This one, of course, very tricky since your car wants to understeer and get away. This one, this corner, very, very slow speed, but you have to absolutely nail that entry exit to get a better entry and exit on the last corner as Envy crosses the line. This was the 22.9. A decent lap. I believe he could improve in some places more, but yeah, still not to discount it.
Yep, and that was run on a medium as well. So just the sighting laps right now, I would say, for Envy. Definitely could be doing a lot more than that.
Certainly. What do you think would be a good strategy around here? Since I see there's a slight mix-up of tire compounds. Some drivers are on softs while the others are on mediums.
I definitely think drivers should try to start on the softs, unless you're gonna qualify under below P15 or something like that. Maybe you could consider it, but until then, I would say just start with the softs.
Yeah, sure. I mean, usually I think, in my opinion, a good strategy around here would be a medium soft strategy, since the tire wear is fairly low, so you can push the softs a lot, and especially in the second stint with lower fuel, more rubber on the track, so you're gonna have a lot more grip. It's certainly faster. But yeah, at the end we'll have to see what these drivers choose. And to remind our viewers who are still unaware, the top 10 people in qualifying still have to start on the tires that they qualified on. So they'll also have to ensure that they don't wear the tires out too much, because I mean, yes, the wear is low, like in general during the race, but during qualifying the wear does exceed the normal sort of percentage. That's going to be interesting to see if some drivers do multiple laps on their tires, because it's very easy to invalidate here.
Yeah, that is also 100% true. The chicane that we just went through, it's notorious for track limits. You could just easily invalidate your lap right there. And I think Dark Knight will not be that happy in the what happened in the earlier phase. There were a few cars that kind of blocked his line a little bit. So I don't think this will be his best lap as it is, but it will be enough to make sure that there is a time on board.
Certainly, as long as he doesn't invalidate here, which he doesn't, takes it fairly cleanly. He'll be setting a very good banker lap, I believe. Yeah, P4 provisional P4 23.9. It's not bad considering that he did get blocked in a few places. Plus, mediums. I think he'll be opting to go for the soft medium strategy. So we'll have to see, what kind of lap time Dark Knight could put in, as also we're riding on board Alex, who I believe is a reserve. Currently reserving in for Ferrari today for us. He keeps it mostly clean through there, although I believe he could take much better lines. And if you could see tires, please, Deepak, these drivers. As a majority have opted to go for softs, I think a few people will be opting to go for a soft run. Which is also fairly plausible. And it could work, certainly. Alex is coming into sector 2. He's green. His first sector, he didn't set a time. I think he set an invalidated time, that's why you can't see it. 8 tenths down from P1. Sector 3. Takes, I think, properly. Because I can't see the onboard. Can we go on board him, Deepak? Thank you so much. And yeah, he's keeping it clean through these corners. On this track, as long as you can keep it clean, not get loads of penalties or, perhaps invalidate your lap, that's pretty much enough. So you just have to stay on track. That is what Alex has done. So let's see where he goes. He comes across the line of P5. 24.5. That's a decent lap. And, okay, he's cut across the corner like that, which is not allowed.
There's some freedoms with track limits on his in lap.
Certainly, but that is not allowed. So he will be waiting us towards a decision upon that. After it is reported, of course. The Ink is on an outlap. A few drivers on an outlap. I think, yeah, some of them have opted to wait out a little bit to get a bit of rubber out on track. Because, on this track, especially when the margins are fairly low, considering the track limits, as well as the general cornering speeds, I think they would want to wait a little bit for the track to get some rubber on it, for them to have a little bit of grip, and then go for a push lap, and of course it has to go again. And as we're on board Dark Knight, who had a purple middle sector, so I wonder what could have been. Yeah, he has, but it was a purple middle sector, so I think he definitely perhaps has it in him for top 3. We'll have to see where he ends up.
Yep.
It was, well, I think Ferrari are just reserves today. I think the full Ferrari team is.
Yeah, it does look like both are reserves. So yeah.
Yeah. Of course, we'd like to remind our viewers. Oh, Mr. Raut's retired. Can we go on board someone who's near him? Or is he retired in the pits? No, he's retired out on track, Deepak. Rajesh has also retired. I think, is there a collision that happened?
I think there was. I just saw some cars just on the side over there. I think they might have had a collision.
I think they might have had a collision. Yeah, if you see on the bottom right on the map, there's both of their blimps over each other. So I think the both of them had a collision and retired. That will definitely be sent to the stewards.
Yep. I was seeing Aston Martin boys are going out together on the track. I don't think they're close enough to do any slipstream tactics, but still out together. These guys have announced their arrival with a 1-2 in the last race, so really be looking forward to see what kind of performance they can put up. And Karthik Sab, who took the last race in dominant fashion, is on his lap. He's about to complete his lap, I guess. Yep, he's coming around. Taking the penultimate corner, taking the curb. I don't think he'll be doing that, but he's getting all squirmy, but it's somehow just going through for him. This is what kind of time he puts up through.
Certainly, and he goes fastest with the 22.2, and Ink follows him right behind him with the 22.8. So still provisional 1-2 for the Aston Martin boys.
That's nice. That's really nice.
Certainly, this will give them a confidence boost, if I shall say. for the race as well. I mean, of course, they'll still have enough time to, set another lap in qualifying, which I believe they will be doing it towards the end of the session. But it does, boost them a lot. As who's that? I think that's Uday. Uday. He has retired.
Oh no!
And
Sai is also
Sai
retiring.
Tarun has retired. We were on board him as he went through that corner, just lost it on the exit and has retired. And there's loads of debris on track. This yellow flag in sector 1, 2, as well as 3. Koushik has also retired. Not sure what's happened. I mean, definitely wasn't a collision between the two drivers since we were on board him. But yeah, two drivers retiring one after the other.
Oh, I think Koushik must have just gone through white, similar to the crash that Alonso had in the qualifying. He was stuck on the wall on the right side.
I think that could have been the cause, but then it's not good for any of them since of course we saw the pace that Sai Tarun had last week, considering that where he was the season before, and just about a month and a half, how much he's improved. This is not going to be good for Sai, since I'm pretty sure he has the pace to be at least top 5 today.
Yep. And also I think Sai's crash kind of caught at Days as well, who was kind of on a lap over there. He had to take some avoiding actions to avoid hitting the car, and that might have. And actually, MB has gone faster with a 121.5.
That's 7 tenths faster. that's very quick. Yep. And if I'm not wrong, I was with the drivers when they were doing that practice, and I believe the Aston Martin boys were setting somewhere around the 22 lows, maybe the 21 highs. If that is the case, then I don't think anybody would want to be, pushing a lot more. I think he can just settle down with this, since I don't think any other driver, at least in qualifying, has the pace to match him. Of course, I could be proved wrong by these drivers, but I was there, when they were practicing. This is at least what I saw. So it could be interesting as to, if the Aston Martin boys decide to prioritize perhaps Karthik and give him a bit of slipstream through his lap to, help improve as much time as he can.
But this isn't one of the tracks where slipstream is much important, don't you think? I mean, I think you've got a lot more to lose following a car rather than gaining.
Certainly, but I think Deadshot has been disqualified for going the wrong way.
Oh, that
could be a bug, since it does happen, and as Inder Des is also cutting the track, which is of course not allowed still, so he will also be reported for that. Unless there was some sort of thing that happened between Inder Des as well as Deadshot, and because of that Deadshot got disqualification, we're not sure. We'll have to wait for the drivers to report it themselves in case if it was some sort of an incident. Rather, I think it was just a glitch, since it does happen on this game that even if you're facing the wrong way, sometimes the game just decides to disqualify you, especially if it's in qualifying. So it could just be unfortunate for Deadshot today, right here, because his qualifying has ended in a disaster, and that's very close between Alex and who that was.
That was Inder Des. That was very unnecessary, I feel like.
I think that would have been a better move in the race rather than in the qualifying itself. But I mean, because they both could have DNF'd there. So it was a very risky move. So we'll see if that gets reported or not.
I don't really think I've seen a quali like this where a lot of cars have already crashed or made to sit out for some bizarre reasons. I think this is the first time I'm seeing multiple cars like this going out.
Certainly, that's 6 cars that are out of qualifying already, out of a 20-car grid, a full grid today. But that means there's only 14 positions to fight for, and the person who hasn't set a lap time yet is Kumar, who is a reserve, as Kirito makes a bit of a mistake, and he will be deciding to pit, perhaps quickly change onto a new set of softs and then go again. But as I was saying, Kumar is the only driver who hasn't set a lap yet. He is a reserve. He's on an out lap now, so I think he just wants to, do one lap and then be done with it, rather than, missing multiple tire sets, since I believe he thinks that it could help him out in the race.
Maybe it could, but let's see how that pans out for him.
Certainly, I mean, if there's multiple safety cars, then I think it could help him out with, saving softs. But if not, then there's really no reason to, since you really want to get a banker lap in, especially at a track like this, where we have already seen about 5 drivers who have been DNF'd because of losing control of the car and causing a collision or retiring all by themselves. So not ideal. So you really have to send a banker in. As Wilster G is setting a lap on his mediums right here, going through turn 1, takes a bit of the curb. Has good exit, but it's very squabbly on the exit right there. He just took the curb on the left hand side, way too much on the exit right there. A very sharp turn, this one. He is struggling a little bit with understeer since that corner does push a lot of understeer, and he's taken a lot of that curb that might help him out. Not going to be much of a time gain, but it still is. Goes green through sector 1. He's improving on his time.
And MD and Ink have also started their hot laps. That will be something interesting to see what's going to happen there.
Certainly. So there's no slipstream, I think, going on, and there's yellow flags, and it's someone spun. It's one of the Aston Martins in
I think it's more like traffic jam to let the drivers through. I think that's the whole case going on. But yeah, I mean, whatever it is, I don't think now is the time to do traffic jams because the clock is ticking. They need to rush to the line right now.
Certainly, and there's a lot of drivers out in grid, and there's somewhat of a traffic jam that's forming, and Wilster G loses it coming out of that corner. Saves it though, no damage. But yeah, that was really unfortunate. As we can see, Envy goes purple through the first sector, taking all the way to the left, then pulling off to the right. And he's improved by 9/10. Is that what that is? That's really quick. I mean, he's still got purple in the second sector. Looking really quick here, Envy today. I think he is definitely in contention for a win. And we can see Ink is behind Mighty Owl. He's getting the dirty air of Mighty Owl. Will Ink cross the line and perhaps get top 3? Let's see. Ink does not. He does improve on his time, but I think that's his quality over unless he's deciding to go on another run. Envy sets the fastest lap, improves by another 3/10 or such. With the 21.3, that's a very, very quick lap. But yeah, Blaze is on an outlap as well. Basically, everyone's on an outlap or on a hot lap. Karthik Sub has started his lap finally with just as the clock ticks to 0. That is qualifying over. And there is someone on the left hand side. That's an Alpha Tauri who was
I think that was just Envy letting him through it, I guess.
Yeah, okay, then it doesn't matter much. But yeah, Karthik Sub coming through, and he's 3/10 down on Envy through the first sector. He's not improving on his own lap time as well. So Envy really has to put it in these next 2 sectors to really, get close to Envy or perhaps even beat him for pole.
Yeah, looks like an uphill task, but let's see what kind of sectors he can pull it out. But I do think Envy has done it enough to secure pole for himself, and I think just invalidates his lap.
Invalidated, okay. Now, sort of Pat, who's in P3 right now, is improving through both the sectors on his personal best. 10.5 down from Envy through the second sector. It'll be interesting to see. Does he have enough in the last sector to get pole? We'll have to see as he's coming into the third last corner. The penultimate corner doesn't look like he's locked up. His exit is just about fine as well. Blaze goes P3 in the meanwhile. We'll see can sort of Pat coming across the line. Will he get... Oh no, he doesn't. Misses out by 7/10 P2. I mean, I'd say it's still a decent lap. But yeah, that's qualifying over, and wow, Envy just has a lot of pace in him.
Yep, Envy is definitely trying to make up for what happened last week. So yeah, he's already coming out the block swinging with an amazing pole. I mean, that's an absolute demolition job on the grid, I would say. Even Karthik, even though he invalidated, even though before that he was still not looking to be in a shape where he could completely dethrone Envy's time. So yeah, that's a commanding performance from him.
Certainly, I mean, unless it could be slightly tactical or it could just help him off the line, since P1 and P3, the odd numbers are on the left hand side. So perhaps Karthik could get a slipstream from Envy down into turn 1, and he could overtake sort of Pat and then continue on with his race from there. But I don't really want to talk about anyone right here currently, since I don't want to jinx anyone. I don't want to curse them. I don't want to give them a commentator's curse, since especially Envy, since that's a very, very good lap from him. And if he continues on with this pace, I do believe he will certainly pull away by a large margin and win the race, as this is our quali over for round 2. And this is the grade NV fastest with a 1:21.354, followed by Saurabh in the Alpine, Karthik sub, Blaze, slightly unexpected lap, slightly unexpected to be in top 4, but yeah, still a very good lap from Blaze. Dark Knight followed by Ink, not a good qualifying for him. Inder Des, Uday, ABD, Turbochuk, Alex, Kirito, Mr. Out, Sai Tarun, Wilster G, Fuzzy Dunlop, Mighty All, Kumar, Rajesh, and Deadshot round up the grid. That was a very interesting qualifying, considering that a lot of the drivers DNF'd, but yeah, still very fun to watch. And we'll see, who knows, maybe Karthik has a lot more race pace than Envy. So, he could perhaps overtake him on the race itself rather than, perhaps not being close in qualifying.
Yep, I mean that's definitely something that they're gonna hope. Even last week we know what happened. They struck a strategic masterclass, and Envy had his doubts and backed out, which really cost him the race. But yeah, they'll definitely be hoping to pull off another strategic masterclass like that, because right now that looks like the only way to beat Envy at this moment.
Certainly, but what doesn't help is the fact that Ink, who played a huge role in with the strategy with Karthik, is down in P6. He's not in P4. He's not ahead of Karthik. He's like 3 positions back from Karthik. So Ink will really have to put in some solid lap times in the first couple of laps, as well as set up really big overtaking moves and actually execute them to get close to Karthik, so that they can pull off a very good strategy. Otherwise, yeah, regardless, it'll be a very interesting fight, between the top 3.
Yep, definitely. It does look to be an interesting race. Let's see what kind of action comes towards the way. One thing is clear, that there's going to be no weather variations, so that's out the window. But let's see what else cooking up for us.
Certainly, and considering tire wear is fairly low on this track, I think a few drivers would really be opting to go on the medium soft strategy, at least the ones that are not in the top 10. Pull out the mediums as long as possible, and help help them get a lot more positions with the softs on the second stint, considering they'll be lower on fuel. And if I'm not wrong, I think drivers would prefer to extremely underfuel here, because on specifically this game on this track, you're fairly, you essentially gain a lot of fuel basically. Instead of losing it, you gain a lot of fuel. So I think, considering that there could be incidents, I think some drivers might want to completely underfuel by at least half a lap or something, ensure that their cars are not too heavy as they go on to the second stint with the softs. Otherwise, it could completely ruin the strategy for them.
Yeah, this track is definitely not a very fuel hungry track, at least not this layout. Maybe the new layout could be something, because it's got a long flat out section, but this one, it's not that tough to fuel save. You could actually underfuel and make through the race. And like you said, we already saw that in quali as a lot of incidents, a lot of cars just crashing, and one of them could be a safety car potentially, and that could mean some more fuel saving. So it does make a lot more sense to underfuel in this track.
Yeah, certainly. I think with the heavy risk of safety car, I think it is a very wise decision to actually go. And Inder Des has already been disqualified from the qualifying session. Not sure what's happened to him, but yeah, a few drivers have opted to go onto the mediums, such as Deadshot, Rajesh, ITL, Wilster, Sai. But the rest of them have, of course, opted for the softs. I think the guys are hoping that there's an early safety car or something like that, so that they can pit for mediums or even hards. Although I think mediums should suffice, considering it's the tire wear is fairly low. But we'll have to see how it ends up for them.
Yep, it's gonna be absolutely critical for them to. I always say this whenever you're starting on the mediums from the back. It's always like a very risky gamble, because if there is some kind of first lap incident, and if you could not get yourself away from the incident, get caught up in the incident requiring wing change or whatever, you're gonna have only 2 options. There's gonna be either softs or the hards, and softs might not be a very good option, considering that you just made a very early stop. So you're gonna be boxing in yourself into a hard tire, and we all know how bad hard tires can be. So that's something that they're gonna have to consider. That's gonna be there in the back of their minds. So they're gonna have to make sure that they keep away from the first lap incidents that could be happening quite a lot over here this track.
Certainly, and I think going on to the mediums is a fairly risky strategy because, I mean, it could work out in the end for them if, the soft runners have a fairly bad race. The medium runners could stay out for far, far longer and, have some temps in their tires as our drivers are coming up onto the grid. Yeah, I think the people who are on mediums could really benefit with like an early strategy and early safety car, sorry, as most of the drivers will be looking to pit for the mediums or even the hards. But since they're already on mediums, they'll be staying out, so, because of the low tire, but they don't have to worry about pitting early, perhaps not as early as, lap 15, 16. And as the drivers are coming up, Deepak, why don't you take us on the start?
Sure. So I think all the cars are formed up on the grid. Wait for the lights to go on. We've got 2 lights, 3, 4, 5 lights, and it's lights out. And the front row has got tentative start. It's all going. Look, Blaze seems to have gotten a good launch, and he's already up into P3. That's a mega launch from Blaze. And going side by side with the Alpine of Saurabh. But and we already have a turn one incident. We already see some wings flying around. And we also have a retirement already. Two
Big
cars
crash
retired.
between Mr. Out and Deadshot. Watch for safety car.
That was something that they already pretty much afraid of, because the turn one, it's a very, very tight corner, and there's always going to be a chance of 2 cars into one doesn't work, and that's
Sorry
exactly
to
what
cut
happened.
you off, Deepak, but it's a full course caution now. It's a safety car now.
Yep. This is definitely not something that I've seen quite a lot. Like getting a safety car right after turn. I mean, I've had BSCs, but safety car is just it just shows how bad the crash was.
Certainly, I mean, there was a lot of debris on track, and I think a few drivers have damage on the back. Although I would like to say, why I did sort of predict it. Karthik Sub did get a really good start, took the slipstream of Envy and followed him through. Currently in P2, so because of the safety car, it gives him a very good chance to pull away. Although it'd be interesting to see if the soft runners, especially in the top 10, opt to pit for mediums or even the hards, see if they can pull it off to the end.
And Ink has got no front wing. That's definitely put a dent in his race.
Oh no, yeah, that has gone horribly for Ink. I think he just got caught between the incident of Mr. Raut and Deadshot, and or maybe he could have had a collision with someone else. And Sai Tarun has lost a wing. Wilster G has completely lost a wing.
That's the worst case for him.
Lost an end plate. Yeah, I think these drivers definitely have to pit. His Inter Dance also has a penalty. Alex got a 5-second stop and go for speeding in the pit lane, ignoring yellow flag, so he overtook someone under the safety car.
That's the worst case.
It is pretty horrible.
And we see a flood of cars going into the pits to repair all the damage that they had. And just like I was saying, Wilster G is having the absolutely perfect nightmare. So now he has no other option except to go into hards, which is about the feasible option for him.
Certainly,
and he's going onto the softs.
Is Inter Dance, as we're on board with, going on to the mediums. Yeah, I mean, Uday is the only person who's opted to go onto the hards. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him throughout the race. But yeah, Wilster G, Kumar both on softs, and I'm not gonna lie, Deepak, this is a lot more drivers who have had incidents over here than I expected. Although I think a few drivers got a 5-second stop and go, speeding in the pit lane as they were entering it. So yeah, I think Inter Dance still has that.
Even I didn't expect such a big crash, to be honest. I thought maybe 2 or 3 cars, but that does look like more than half the grid getting involved in that.
Yeah, certainly not more than half the grid, but a lot of drivers did have damage, and I think Mr. Raut and Deadshot, not sure what happened there, but probably something kicked off a chain reaction that just caused a lot of drivers to go into the back of each other and, break their wings. Although I think Sai Tarun came off, the best run since he only had a broken end plate. But of course, considering that this game, takes away a lot of your downforce, even if you have just chipped end plate, he had to pit and get it changed. But otherwise, I think he would have been fine.
Yep. So let's have a look at who are the biggest gainers. So Rajesh seems to have gotten the dream launch. He's already up to 12 positions with all the incidents going on, and he seems to have gotten clear of all the carnage, got no damage on his car. That's really great. And he also got Kirito, who's up 6 positions. For a bit to see how his race pans out. And Saurapat has lost 6 positions, but thankfully I think he has kept his car clean and away from damage. I think so. He feel like he has dodged a bullet even though he has dropped situations, because he still has got the pace to get the cars ahead. So yeah, he'll definitely be looking forward to regroup and attack the cars pretty soon.
Yeah, certainly. I think, considering that he's on the softs, wear is low, especially with the safety car. I think it's going to help the soft runners out a lot if they've stayed out, since they're going to be having much lesser wear. They'll be able to pit far later than they needed to, as Kirito's running the Carlos Sainz helmet, which is interesting. That's probably a slight glitch, and I saw a bit of lockup or some sort of contact there. But yeah, I'd also like to point out that Mighty Owl has also had a very good start. He's up into P9, up 8 positions. So yeah, I think people like Rajesh, Mighty Owl, Saurav Pat, I think they just managed to avoid all of the collision. I mean, of course, Saurav Pat did manage to avoid the collision since he got spun around and had a bit of a contact with Blaze, who's up into P3 currently. But yeah, I mean, it's still not bad, and I think the safety car will be going in this lap certainly, since the most of the grid has wound up, and yeah, the safety car is going in this lap.
Safety car is in, and MD has got to restart again. Karthik will definitely. Oh, and we see ABD has. Oh my god, this is actually bringing some PTSD for me, because something similar happened to me, but this is still. ABD is gonna be cursing himself for sure.
Certainly, I mean, he is using button braking. I mean, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have helped him through the traction, but yeah, I don't think his button braking was going to help him through the race anyways, as Envy is weaving now on the straights to try and get as much temperature into size, and I think Envy is trying to juke Karthik, and Envy is, he's trying to juke Karthik into, making sure that Karthik is weaving, and then, he will go going fairly slowly. And Ink has 5 seconds for ignoring yellow flags. He's overtaken Sai Tarun under the yellow flags, and as Envy has gone already, gets a very good start. Karthik sub though, I think Envy caught Karthik sub slightly napping, although Alex has moved up onto Uday, up into P11. There's a bit of action going on at the back. These drivers, a few of them have overtaken. Ink has gone past Uday. Can we go back there, please? Envy has pulled off a lot, but yeah, as we can see, Sai Tarun really on the back of Uday. Uday not having the best of starts under the safety car. I mean, Ink got 5 seconds for ignoring yellow flags, but I think we overtook Sai Tarun before with the yellow flags. And as Wilser G, who's flying right now, he's passed in the dance. And Sai Tarun gets 3 seconds. The first one to get 3 seconds. Rito in P5, very close to Turbo. Chuk, who's in P4. Here comes Saurav Pat on Rajesh. Rajesh going off fairly wide. Saurav Pat's on the inside, makes the move done fairly easily. And I think Mighty Owl is losing a lot of positions. I am not sure why, but there's a bit of action going on in the back. If you can move on to them, please. And this Fuzzy Dunlop, what's happened to him? I'm not sure what happened to him. Ink is now past Fuzzy Dunlop. I think Fuzzy Dunlop got into a bit of an incident. Probably chipped off a bit of wing there or something. As now Uday is coming up onto Fuzzy Dunlop. Fuzzy Dunlop still on the softs that he started off with. At least as the fastest lap. Envy is really putting in the lap times here. As Wichity tries to set it on the outside, but loses the control of his car since it's not really a place to make an overtake. But there's yellow flags in sector 3, not sure for who. Ink is really pushing right now. He's right on the back of Alex, and they're almost making it 4 wide. I think that's 3 wide in the back right there. Although I think the drivers do sort it out between themselves and let the other person by. Uday has gone off wide. He's let Fuzzy Dunlop by. I think he got an illegal overtake or something. Yeah, Fuzzy Dunlop's just really slowing down and letting a lot of drivers by. Not sure what's happened to him. But yeah, Wilser G has had a decent safety car restart over here, and he's already trying to make a move on Interdance. Right here, Interdance going off wide, and Wilser G makes the move. I don't think he has spun. No, keeps the control of his car, although rejoining with that would have definitely put his car center and made him lose a bit of traction, but yeah, it's still fine. We go onward Dark Knight as he's trying to make a move on Rajesh. Yeah, Dark Knight trying to go around the outside. There's a bit of wheel banging right there. Still wheel banging going to the chicane. Yet more wheel banging, but I think Rajesh is ahead. Dark Knight thinks the better of it. But it's not going to help Dark Knight since Alex is right onto him now. Alex is dumping his ERS already down to the 20% mark. Dark Knight trying his best to defend as well as attack Rajesh at the same time. Rajesh, of course, being a slow driver than the cars ahead. And this is a massive train right here, Deepak.
Yep, it is. You already see like 5 cars involved in this. You already saw this last lap as well. So yeah, let's see how the dice falls in this time round.
Thirdly, there's multiple cars just for that P7 position. Excuse my stammering there, but I can't help it. But yeah, in the dance has now pitted. I think he had some sort of a damage there, but Mighty Owl's fallen all the way back down to P17 where he started. And now Dark Knight again still trying to send a move on Rajesh. But yeah, still unsuccessful because he's unable to follow him through the corners, of course, because we're on the old unreprofiled layout, so it's not going to help him out there since there's a lot of dirty air as well.
Yep, definitely that's going to be a very big annoyance. And we see Sai Tarun is going into the back of Ink, just knocking along just to get a move on. But I think Ink is trying his level best to do, but it's not happening. And you see Alex is going on a move on the inside. That was an aggressive move, just barging Rajesh off and saying that coming through, let me buy.
Certainly, and they're wheel banging now. Now Sai Tarun's wheel banging with Rajesh. Rajesh hits the wall, I think. Rajesh trying to look down the outside as Ink is defending off from Uday. And now Ink has DRS and it's just forming into a train. But yeah, there are overtakes being made, but they're not making much progress since Dark Knight and Alex are still doing a very good job of fending off for their position.
Yep, Rajesh is definitely fighting tooth and nail for every single position that he's letting through. And we see Uday is having a look, but chooses the better of it, which is a good choice. And we see Ink is going. Oh, he's going. I thought he was going for a move, but he is going into the pits.
Why is Ink gone into the pits? I don't understand why he's going into the pits. I mean, Rajesh
probably he just wants to get out of this train, try get an undercut on these guys. And that's a bit too early, but yeah.
Yeah, he's gone on to a new set of mediums. So yeah, I think he just wanted to undercut the train ahead, or perhaps come with fresher tires and try. Since Rajesh is really holding people up with his, safety. I think he put it under the safety car. Yeah, he did. As we can see, Saurav Pat is trying to make a move on Turbo Choke. They're going side by side into the chicane. Yeah, Saurav Pat makes a very fairly clean and easy move on Turbo Choke. Now Turbo Choke has to worry about Kirito and the Ferrari who's right behind him. And he's charging up onto sorry. There's a time limit. There's yellow flags in sector 2. Not sure what's going on. That's Rajesh who's spun now.
Uday and Fuzzy Rajesh having a spin. I think probably there was another case of aggressive defense that ended up really bad.
Certainly. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens in. And as Wilson G goes off wide, and that's cost him about 2 positions right here. He's now behind Kumar.
And up front, Blaze has gotten Karthik for the second podium position. I wonder what happened to Karthik there.
Yeah, I think Karthik just doesn't have the pace in him to fend off, or perhaps maybe he's waiting to get perhaps a better.
Sai Tarun has retired.
Will that cause another safety car? There is another safety car.
Oh.
And it is unfortunate because Envy is far ahead, whereas the drivers who are behind the safety car, behind the pit lane, perhaps somewhere in sector 3, they could have pit, and they could probably pit and go on to some tires such as the hards, I think. But even the mediums, I think medium should last until the end. And I certainly curse Sai, saying that he has top 5 pace. So yeah, I apologize. I didn't mean to do that, but I didn't expect the commentator's curse to hit you that hard. But yeah, he certainly did have the pace. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Next race obviously as to where his pace is.
Yep. I mean, we did predict some safety cars, but I didn't think we would see 2 safety cars within 8 laps. I mean, that's just a bit too much. But it just shows how ruthless this track can be. And yeah, I definitely think he just trying to push too hard on the set of mediums, just going too much on the curve, and the car just turning around on him.
Yeah, certainly. And yeah, again, if these curves are really just killers, so if you do, go over them for, longer than what you'd really realistically want to, then yeah, the curves are just going to simply spin you out, as Karthik's sub is also changing his wing. So perhaps they had some sort of contact between Blaze and Karthik, and since Karthik had damage, so now he's pit. He's even changed his wing. Can we see the tires graphic, please? Karthik's onto mediums, whereas Blaze is pit for hards. Dark Knight and Alex have opted out to stay out. So we'll have to see. I think they're trying to go long and perhaps wait on a safety car later in the race, so that they can pit onto the softs and then continue on from there. Since of course softs are not a good option, although TurboChuck disagrees since he is on the softs.
And another thing that we have to consider is Ink might be kicking his luck, because he just pitted like a lap earlier, and now he just lost out on the free pit stop right now.
He did lose out on the free pit stop, certainly, Deepak,
but I think he might be getting it back, considering that others might go into the pits and he has already jumped out to P11. Let's see how long that lasts for, because the tire advantage, though it's a very slim advantage, it could still count for something.
Yeah, certainly. And you have to also consider, Deepak, that we do have a full course safety car, so I think Ink won't really be frustrated, since we still have about 20 laps left in this race. So he can certainly pull off something here, and at least a top 10 finish over here. Yeah, of course he's going to be joining right on the back of sort of Pat, who's in P10, although the drivers ahead are on. And as Mighty Owl has retired on the track itself, it won't extend out the safety car, but yeah, that is I think 5 drivers who have retired from this race already. Of course, Mr. Raut and Deadshot, who were involved in a turn 1 incident on lap 1. ABD binned it under the safety car, under the first safety car. Sai Tarun, who just lost it and caused this current safety car, and Mighty Owl, who I think coming out of the pits made some sort of mistake out of turn 1. Perhaps took the curb on the left hand side on the exit curb too much, and that's caused him to spin and retire.
See, Kirito has gone into the pits.
New mediums. Interesting strategy choices here. Of course, Wilsa G. Let's talk about Wilsa G for a second, Deepak. He did have a lot of pace last weekend. He did get caught with the softs in the inters conditions. He was struggling initially, but he did seem to have a lot of pace, since I think he finished P5 at the end, with his decision to go on to softs, which of course Envy didn't carry out. Had second thoughts about it, went on to inters, which of course at the end turned out to be a decision. But yeah, CG certainly has the pace to be top 5. So do you think that perhaps he could bring out that pace yet again in this race with about 19 laps to go, if he's not involved in some sort of incidents?
Yeah, that definitely is there. He could definitely be someone to consider for some good points scoring positions. But even in today's race, we did see that he got caught up with that unfortunate incident in lap 1, and even when he got the pace, he was just too restless and got caught up in the lower midfield melee that we are seeing, like 4 cars, 5 cars just scrapping over each other. That definitely didn't really help Wilster move forward that much. Probably he'll be hoping for a good safety car restart and jumping a few positions.
Definitely. So all we can do is just hope that Wilster G gets a good safety car restart here. I think the safety car might go in, since all of the drivers have, as I say that, all of the drivers have come onto the back of the safety car. So safety car's gone into slight areas, so it might have caught some drivers off guard who are probably not expecting it. So they'll be aggressively viewing their tires to get some temperatures in them. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens on the safety car restart. Perhaps Dark Knight was up into P2, who's using sort of Alex as a barrier from, people who are on fresh tires, such as Blaze and Karthik, maybe hold them back. And I'm pretty sure Envy already knows that, they haven't boxed. So it's certainly be pulling away a large gap. So it'll be crucial for Blaze and Karthik to, get clear of Dark Knight and Alex, as I think Envy has gone already. Yes, he has.
And he's still weaving. He's still yet to go, and I think he'll be going right now. Yes.
He's caught them off guard, although, yeah, as I said, it would be crucial for Karthik and Blaze to clear them off as soon as possible, as TurboChuck has pit already as soon as the safety car has resumed. In the back, we can see Ink defending, trying to attack sort of Pat and get his position. Ink, of course, on 2-lap older tires, although he did spend 2 laps under the safety car. He's having a look down the inside. He sends it down the inside. Very good move. Squeezes sort of Pat out. Yeah, gets the move done at the end anyways, and this is going to be helping Ink as well as the constructors for Aston Martin.
Yep, it's going to be damage limitation for Aston Martin. That was a very decisive move. He needs to get ahead as quick as he could, but Saurapath is not going to let him through that easy. He's definitely going to fight back at him, but right now the move is done, and here we are on board another train of cars, starting from Dark Knight, who's on 9-lap on the game, and Alex as well. They had stayed out in the safety car period, so they will be definitely coming under a lot of pressure right now.
Certainly, but I think it'll be crucial for them to let the drivers behind by as soon as possible, since they are faster. You can see Blaze going side by side with Alex.
Oh,
Blaze gets stabbed by Alex, and Blaze has spun, who's on the new tires. And his car is not ghosted, so that could have caused some sort of incident, but I guess it's nice that drivers have enough reflexes to avoid Blaze. But yeah, that was very unfortunate for Blaze. But yeah, that just means that Karthik Sub has just one less person to worry about as he's trying to make his way up onto Envy here.
You see Kumar is going into the pits. I don't know what happened. Maybe he got caught up in the Blaze incident or something, but yeah, he's going into the pits right now. And up on it, we have another change in position. Ink, Saurapath and Rajesh fighting it over each other right now. And Blaze as well.
Certainly. Yeah, and Blaze involved. Blaze has a bit of contact on the back with Saurapath. I think he has at least a chipped end wing if it's not been removed yet. But yeah, Ink will really have to look forward to completely focusing on his race and pulling away from them, as Rajesh again is letting his teammate by, who is clearly faster and is of course on the new set of softs. So a good teamwork happening here in between the Alfa Romeo boys.
Yep, that was really unfortunate from Blaze because he was doing pretty good. And I think definitely there'll be a report on Alex, but yeah, right now Alex is just carrying on. Karthik's trying to move, but there was a lot of mistakes over there. Definitely just missed it out. So yeah, he's gonna hang behind for another lap.
Yeah, I think Karthik's just trying to hold back until the DRS is enabled again, and then try to make a move, since Alex, is already on older tires. So Karthik's gonna have a lot more grip than Alex. So I think he's just waiting for that DRS to come, and then he's going to snap onto Alex, and of course as well as Dark Knight. And as DRS does get enabled this lap, and you can see that's Blaze who spit, so he definitely did have a bit of damage there, hitting the back of Saurapath, and Ink is slightly weaving on the straight. Saurapath trying to attack Ink. But here is Rajesh gets a 5 seconds stop and go the pit lane. For speeding in the pit lane probably, and Saurapath is still trying to attack, but of course he's not going to have the DRS since the detection is before in sector 3, the penultimate corner. So yeah, and there's yellow flag in sector 3, and that's Kumar who's retired now. That's another safety car.
Oh,
That is interesting because it's going to be it's been a horrible race weekend for the Red Bull, since Sai had very good pace, and he retired earlier on because the previous safety car. And now Kumar, who's also spun out and retired the penultimate corner, is now caused the safety car. Red Bull are going to be taking away no points this weekend. That's not going to help them, considering that last weekend in Silverstone they had a lot of pace, and I think they took P4 and P5 or something around that. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's been a really unfortunate weekend for Red Bull. Although we'll have to see if some people like Dark Knight and Alex opt out to go onto softs, and we're trying to trick the drivers behind it to go into the pits. But I think Alex will. Yeah, Dark Knight's gone into the pits. Alex has also gone into the pits, so it'll be interesting to see. And Alex has overtaken Dark Knight under the pit lane.
that was a very
totally
cheeky move.
unexpected. Yeah, that was totally unexpected. Really cheeky move. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they go onto softs or hards.
Mediums.
Hey, mediums. Okay, that's not a bad shout either. I guess maybe they don't want to risk it with the softs. Although I do believe they can fully last, but if they really don't want to risk it, then I guess it is what it is. Mediums it is for these drivers, and Fuzzy Dunlop has pit. Let's see, he's also going on to mediums. So yeah, let's see where Ink is. Ink is up into P3, and certainly I think Ink has a lot more pace than Karthik Sub this race. Ink has made, of course, he's been involved in a few incidents here and there, which has caused him to pit a lot, but he does have the advantage of the pace, I think, over Karthik. So I think maybe Karthik and Ink are going to do some sort of a team order to let Ink buy and perhaps have a try on Envy, as we can see that it's Aston Martin 1, 2, and the Aston Martin 1, 3, and 4. Aston Martin 1, 3, and 4. Because we also have the Aston Martin safety car, Deepak. So
Nice save right there.
thank you. But yeah, currently Aston Martin P2 and 3, this is still going to help them a lot in the constructors, considering that Deadshot has retired once again. I think he retired last race as well, and or at least I don't think he scored many points. I think he was P15 the last of the runners, and Envy of course winning the race. But yeah, I think Aston Martin guys do have it saved for the constructors at least this race. But yeah, I think they really want to have at least one win, at least in the beginning couple of rounds, since it does give a lot of boost even towards the end. It's nice to have at least one win from either of the drivers. I mean, Karthik has already got that. I think maybe this race he could be trying for it, since I think he has a lot more pace than Karthik could.
I do think Karthik definitely has the upper hand here, but he has been involved in some incidents. I think some mistakes from his side, like the one that we didn't catch it earlier, but he was in the pitch to make a wing change that really put him down. So yeah, definitely Karthik will be trying to avoid those mistakes and push much harder. But yeah, barring anything bad could happen, this looks like a solid haul of points for the Aston Martin, who are definitely looking very strong right now.
Yeah, certainly. Of course, we saw last weekend that their teamwork really helped them get a 1 and 2. So I think if they can carry out the same teamwork here today, I think they can definitely try for a 1 and 2. But I'm pretty sure a podium is secured for them, as long as people like sort of Pat, Wilson G aren't constantly pressuring them. If they can pull away with Envy, at the pace that Envy is going, if they can pull away with them, like all three of the top 3, then I think then people like sort of Pat and Wilson G not going to be much of a hindrance. Although of course we don't want to discount Dark Knight as well, since he was also on the podium the last weekend, and he had a very good race then. I think we're just waiting on Rajesh to catch up with the safety car. But yeah, I don't really want to discount any driver currently, since let's say up until Blaze, every driver has a really good shot of being in the top 3, considering amount of mistakes that are being made. And a safety car is again in this lap, so it's not really wanted to stay out for more than 2 laps. Interesting. But yeah, of course Envy is leading this safety car as well.
So take 3 safety car restart.
Take 3 of safety car restart, definitely. As Rajesh finally catches up to the back of the grid. I think Envy will trying to be going earlier this time, or perhaps even later. Since,
I'd definitely be watching out for Saurabh Path. He's definitely looking to be much racier, and he was definitely hanging on to the back of him, pestering all along the way. So I'd definitely be watching out for him.
Definitely. So we can see Envy still. I think he'd want to look for a later start. No, he starts at the same place as he's done the previous 2 times. And yeah, I don't understand how the drivers are caught off guard, since he basically started the same place again, and there's a glitch. Okay, it's not a glitch, it's just game was loading it. But yeah, sort of Pat goes off wide, has a bit of a moment. Wilster G has now passed Sort of Pat, they're going side by side. Wilster G and Sort of Pat going side by side. Sort of Pat protecting the inside. Wilster G trying to go around the outside. Now he has the inside. No contact. No, actually there is contact. Wilster G spins. That'll definitely be a report. Thankfully no DNF, no crashes. There we can see Dark Knight going off wide, trying to defend off from both of the McLarens over here. Blaze, of course, has had a lot of pace. Blaze is trying to make a move on his teammate Uday right here. Uday, I don't think he's trying to fight it, since of course he knows Blaze has a lot more pace, and so they can probably grab a lot more points for the constructors. Here's Dark Knight right on the back of in the race. He's trying to make deploying all of his ERS right here. He's trying to be sending it down the outside of the chicane. Comes back on the inside, looks at it, but yeah, thinks the better of it, since there's basically no space there.
That was a hectic restart. I definitely thought Sorado had a lot more than that, but he had a very bad running over there, that really helped Wilster come along, and that contact really put Wilster back again. So Wilster's definitely going to be feeling very unlucky. He just doesn't seem to be getting a break, like getting involved in incidents like that. It's definitely hampering his chances.
Certainly, I mean, he's been involved in incidents from the beginning of the race, and he's not had breathing space at all. As Wilster G is past Fuzzy Dunlop, Uday, who has also pit now. Not sure. I think Fuzzy Dunlop just let Wilster by, or perhaps Wilster used a lot more of his ERS, since he's already pulled away about 8/10 from Fuzzy Dunlop. As here we are on board with Blaze, Dark Knight, as well as Interdace. These guys are trying to fight for the P6 position right here. All three of them fairly close on pace, although Dark Knight does go off fairly wide. Pat now gets 3 seconds, and it says Dark Knight, but yeah, Pat got 3 seconds, and now Dark Knight is trying to send it around. There's
Interdace is out.
And now Interdace is dead. Please, no safety car. I'm requesting, please, no safety car. Virtual safety car. Okay, it is better than a full safety car. I think, now we'll have to see. Does Dark Knight have damage? Does Blaze have damage? Perhaps. Okay, Blaze does not have damage, but does Dark Knight have damage? Dark Knight also does not have damage. But yeah, that was really unfortunate for Interdace.
That looked more like a wheel-to-wheel kind of a contact, like side-by-side contact, but through the corners that just threw him off into the wall.
Yeah, I mean, going at a corner like that, where you're carrying a lot more speed, and then if you have contact there, even if you wheel bank slightly, you're definitely off-putting someone. It will be either you or the person you're trying to fight with. But yeah, it's not going to help them, as we're still under VSC. And we can see Uday is fallen a lot far back. It's not going to help him out since he just paid for damage or damage repairs or something like that. But yeah, I think this is a very good opportunity for drivers to cool down and go again. As this green flags again, DRS is enabled. The drivers are right back at it. Pat is right on the back of Ink. Ink could lose 2 positions here, as Alex is also very close to Pat. Yellow flags in sector 1, and I think that's Blaze who spun. That is Blaze who has spun. That has not gone well for him at all, considering the amount of pace he had, at least in qualifying. But yeah, really unfortunate for Blaze. Although still 11 laps to go, so let's not discount any driver yet. Alex is of course trying to put pressure on Pat. Pat is trying to put pressure on Ink. And we can see Envy has already pulled off about 1.5 seconds from Karthik's sub. So as long as Ink and Karthik can have a bit of teamwork, then I think, there's a P2 and 3 guaranteed. If not, if Ink is left behind, there's a bit of contact there that puts Pat off on the exit. There's no damage for Alex though, so that's good. Yeah, this is just pressuring Ink here, since he can lose 2 positions right here. He's Pat is looking clearly faster than Ink as well as Alex, and of course Alex is trying to ensure that he can get past Pat. So whenever he's encountering Ink, he's the person to get P3 and not Alex. Although Pat does have 3 seconds, so I think it's a guaranteed P3 for Alex as long as he can overtake Pat and get to Ink as soon as possible. Although Pat is now going side by side with Ink. There's a bit of wheel banging. Pat sends it on the inside, and Ink. Pat gets spun around. Alex gets held up because of that. Now Dark Knight is past Pat. Now I think Alex will be looking to put pressure on Ink. Alex, of course, with much fresher tires. Ink with 12-lap old tires. I think Ink has. I think Ink has screwed himself a bit over here. So I don't think he predicted this, and Kirito gets 3 seconds as we're talking about it. But yeah, I don't think Ink predicted such conditions where he'll have to stay on those tires for that long. Then now Dark Knight is trying to get revenge of Pat. He's trying to overtake Alex, but Dark Knight, yeah, both of them pitted on the safety car, so they're on equal tires. But yeah, Dark Knight will be trying to look at Alex now, and I'm pretty sure if he can get past Alex, he'll be definitely on wing.
Yep, I think that will be another incident to be referred to towards. Saurav will definitely not be very happy that Ink had turned into him. But I mean, to be fair, it was a bit of a late move, but I think Ink could have done a little more better.
Blazer Rajesh have retired.
Oh no, not again, please.
there's another safety car, and I think there was some sort of an incident between Vaz and Rajesh, and the both of them went at the same time, and their cars are right on the track. The cars are right in the middle of the track, and now Wilsuji goes into the pits first since he did have the opportunity. He'll be trying to go onto the softs.
It's almost half the grid wiped out.
Yeah, I mean, just one more retiree before, we have half the grid wiped out, and of course, it's not a good look considering the racing we had last week was really fun to watch with like minimal retirements. But yeah, this is really unfortunate. About Shoku's just had to go into the pits on softs. Although this, I think, brings new light to the Aston Martin guys since, they could perhaps, onto the softs and try and attack NV10. Although this is going to be tricky since I'm pretty sure Ink is going to get held up because you cannot double stack in this game. So I think they're going to be trying to prioritize Karthik sub here. And, Ink is going to stay out and perhaps take the lead of this race.
Yeah, that could be a bit of a gamble, but I do think they could stay out, but it's gonna be risky either way because as you know, it's not very easy to overtake on this track. So yes, the tires are gonna be an advantage for you, but still you're gonna have to make it work. Like what we saw in the earlier safety cars, the cars were fighting over each other for position, and that really didn't end well. So yeah, let's see what kind of strategy Aston Martin goes for.
Envy is already pit for softs. Ink does stay out. Karthik sub has also pit for softs, and I think everyone on the grid will be pitting for softs. I think Ink's work now, becomes then to hold off Envy for as long as possible, and make the opportunity for Karthik to get past Envy, as Dark Knight has also stayed out alongside Alex. So I think as long as Karthik can follow, Karthik has a longer stop. Karthik has been overtaken. He was right on the back of Envy, but now he's 2 positions down. He's come out behind Fuzzy Dunlop as well as Kirito. It's not gone well for Karthik.
Yep, it definitely has not. I'm pretty sure now Karthik and the Aston Martin pitbull man by Heisenberg will be saying to Ink, defend like a lion or whatever, something like that. Because Ink could play a role over here right now by his defense, but yeah, it's a lot to ask.
Certainly, but for how much longer can Ink hold on to those tires as well as the rest of the grid? Considering, those are 14 lap old tires, and of course they're not going to be in the best of the shapes. As you can see on our data on the bottom left, they are about orangish yellow, so of course they are really worn out. So it'll be a doubt, if Ink can properly hold on to Alex and Dark Knight. Well, Envy, of course, being on the new set of softs, I think he's going to have a very good opportunity to get past Dark Knight. If he can jump Dark Knight and Alex, then he'll be certainly on for the win here. Although Karthik's are, of course, stuck in P7, he'll have to jump Kirito, Fuzzy Dunlop, Dark Knight, Alex. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ink is going to let them by, but yeah.
What's up, Simply? What's up, Deepak? Hey, Jamie?
Yes, hello,
wonder that's the
hello,
voice of couple.
It is couple.
Hey, I hope you don't mind me crashing in. I just wanted, since we're in a small little break for the safety car comes in again, just wondering if you could just sort the stream out just a little bit. I can just switch scene and just sort out a small discrepancy before we get started.
Yep, sure.
Right.
Yeah, muted. Alright, apologies for the break. It was just a little thing that we had to sort out. And here we are back.
Still under safety car. I think safety car will be going in this lap.
Should be.
As I was saying earlier, oh, what's happened there? Well, Envy's up into P3, so now it's more pressure on Ink to make sure that Dark Knight is fighting with Envy for as long as possible.
Wait, how did this happen?
I have absolutely no idea, Deepak.
I don't think Dark Knight has pitted. Or has Alex. Maybe did Alex spin out or something?
I think maybe Alex did lose it slightly, and because of that, perhaps, that just let Envy go up into P3. Safety car won't be in this lap. So this is helping out Ink slightly, but it's not. Is it really helping him out, Deepak? Do you see it? Oh,
Safety car's in this lap. That's a
okay.
very late message.
That's literally on the last corner. That's very odd. Now Ink will have to make sure he does the best job of a restart. Make sure that Dark Knight gets pushed onto Envy, and it's gonna help. He's gonna try and help out his teammate as much as possible. Ink has gone already. Dark Knight is right with Ink, although Envy did get caught napping slightly. There's a bit of action going on in the back. Ink still leading though from Dark Knight. Envy closing in really close. Envy getting really close, and now that's Karthik Sub up into P5. There's some sort of collision that's happened, or some sort of an incident that's happened between Fuzzy Dunlop, Kirito, as well as Alex, and this is going to really help out Karthik Sub. Karthik Sub only has to clear off Alex now. Alex really holding Karthik Sub up a lot. Saying that he is on softs and he's trying to fight for the win right here today. And I think Karthik Sub really wants to dispatch of Alex as much as possible. And I think Ink will try to be doing the best job that he can of defending. Maybe the message has already gone out that Ink defend like a lion from Heisenberg, their race engineer today. So yeah, Alex takes the curve. Karthik's on the inside. Okay. Sorry, apologies. I got slightly confused. I thought Alex retired, but yeah, Karthik Sub's dispatched of Alex. The Karthik Sub is in free air. He'll be trying to make a move on Envy, or at least closing up on Dark Knight now, considering that Envy's gone up into P2. He's made a move on Dark Knight. Ink has to do the best job that he can of holding him up.
We have another DNF.
That is half the grid that's written, and then Alex
another
is also
DNF.
retired. That is 2 DNFs, and now that is more than 50% of the grid that's retired, and there's some sort of contact that's happened between Alex and Saurabh, hence why Saurabh was off in the grass. Yeah, this has not gone well. Now Ink is trying to defend as much as he can from Envy, to make sure that, he gets slightly pushed back onto Karthik Sub. Karthik Sub is now trying to make a move on Dark Knight. He's closing up on him. Ink staying ahead. Ink has a lot more ERS. Does he? Can we really quickly go on board Ink to check? Ink has a lot less ERS, 30% less. Envy trying to use up his tires as much as possible to put as much pressure on Ink as possible. Although Dark Knight is really close on to Karthik Sub is really close on to Dark Knight, and he'll be trying to make a move on Dark Knight right here really quickly, so that he can put pressure on Envy. And as long as Karthik Sub is ahead of Envy, I think Ink is going to let Karthik Sub by. Although now Ink is taking the inside, we could probably see a double move. No, Envy is on the outside. Karthik Sub trying to send down the inside, has a look, thinks the better of it. This is really, really close right here. Anyone getting 3 seconds between, it's over for them. Envy trying to send a move on Karthik Sub, Ink on the outside. Ink fends it off. Karthik Sub looks down the inside and thinks the better of it. These guys are really fighting it tooth and nail out here, Deepak.
Yep, it's definitely a very intense closing to the race, and we see 2 Aston Martins fighting for their life right now. One car trying to defend for its life, another one trying to make a move as quick as it could. Dark Knight is not making things easier. He's making it as tough as he could, and Ink is defending his as best as he could, moving onto the inside, but Envy is going around the outside. Will he be able to stick it? Nope, he can't. And Dark Knight is coming into the picture.
Certainly, Dark Knight is coming into the picture. He's holding up Karthik Sub. All the Karthik Sub is going side by side with him. And okay, wow, now the Envy and Karthik Sub are going side by side. Karthik Sub has the inside of this corner, Envy has the inside of this corner. Karthik Sub backs off slightly, but yeah, they're going side by side briefly. And I think Ink has done a very good job of holding up Envy. Now all Karthik Sub has to do is keep it clean, work with Ink, and get past Envy as soon as possible. And now Envy's going side by side. Envy's trying to send it around the outside. Ink defending the inside, and Envy's already gone past. I think there'll be team orders here to let Karthik Sub by, and they have already come into place. Karthik Sub is ahead of Ink. Now Ink is trying to hold off people Behind him, Dark Knight, Wilster G were fairly close to them, although Wilster G does have a time penalty. But yeah, this not helped Karthik sub at all. I mean, it was going great for them, but it's turned into quite a bit of a shamble here, Deepak.
Yeah, I definitely think they tried their elbows, but anyway, it was just too much to handle even for Ink. That was some really good effort from Ink, got to say though. But yeah, the brave defense comes in, and we see a stranded car of Ferrari. It's Kirito, I guess. Thankfully, he didn't. DNF is going on, but now we see Dark Knight is under attack from Bilster. Just trying down the inside. I think he'll be getting the move into turn 1, or will he? I don't think so. He's going to stick behind. So we'll be having another helping of DRS, and probably we'll be having a look at this corner.
Definitely. Now, Wilson G does again look down the inside, but things the better of it. There's not much enough space there through that corner. Very sharp turn there. So, it's better to not stand it. Although now Envy is really pulling away from Karthik sub yet again. He's already made a distance of about 1.5 seconds, 1.3 seconds he's made a gap of. And yeah, that was a very good team between the both of them. Although now Wilson G is really trying to send it on Dark Knight. But very close now. Ink is being pressured. This is a fight for the final podium position right here, P3, and Ink having to defend off from 2 cars at once. And Wilson makes a mistake and he goes off wide, off into the dirt. Will he keep it on the track? Yeah, does not get beached. But now, there's contact. Very aggressive defense from Ink to hold off Dark Knight. But Dark Knight is definitely on for a podium right here if he can keep the pace, considering he has much fresher tires from Ink.
Yep, these two guys have some history with closing days battles. So Dark Knight will definitely be looking forward to get the stats in his side. But right now, it looks like Ink is having the slight edge over him, even though he is on 20 lap old medium tires. Wow. That's gotta be something.
Hate to cut you off, Deepak, but Dark Knight has damaged his left wing, and now Karthik sub gets 3 seconds! No! But I don't think that's gonna be much of a problem since Ink is already far behind. Dark Knight has a broken front left, so I'm pretty sure Ink is going to get reported for that, as there's a very aggressive move by Ink to keep his position that has cost Dark Knight his wing right there.
Yeah, that did look very sketchy to me because I mean you are allowed to defend, you are allowed to cut off the line, but that was too aggressive to be honest. So yeah, Ink is definitely staring down 2 or 3 reports. So yeah, that's gonna have some impact on their constructor standings at least.
Definitely. I mean, Ink's not had the cleanest of races. I mean, I'm very sure that he can have much cleaner races, as Kirito's spins coming out of the final corner. He's almost lapped right here. But as I was saying, Ink is a very clean driver, but I think in the efforts of just making sure that his teammate can keep the position, I think he's really pushed here. Although Envy has shown extreme pace throughout the race, even in qualifying ahead by 7 tenths as we start the penultimate lap of this race. Now that things have settled down, yeah, I'm basically speechless because we had 4 safety cars, 1 VSC, and Ink showed an absolute masterclass in defending, but of course at the end it didn't pay off. Karthik sub also got 3 seconds, so even if Ink was close, I think he would have definitely gotten the position of Karthik sub if he was within 3 seconds. Although now, he had a bit of a collision with Dark Knight, and Dark Knight has wing damage, so I think Dark Knight will be going away. Ink will be pulling away from Dark Knight quite a bit since he does not have a damaged wing. But yeah, what an interesting race that has been, Deepak. That was a real roller coaster from start to finish.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw a lot of stuff happening. Lap 1 DNF, a lot of DNFs, some safety cars, and of course some brilliant scraps going on, like multiple cars fighting for the same piece of tarmac. That was really good to see. Yeah, would have been great if not for these many number of DNFs, but we all do know, even from the past seasons, that this track is all about attrition. I mean, I'm pretty sure even the last season's Tier 1, Tier 2 had a lot of DNFs, and it was all about who lives to survive, who lives to see the checkered flag. So yeah, that definitely proves that this track is a tough one to race on, at least in this game.
Yeah, definitely. Considering that we have one extra corner and it's not as flowy, you really have to be on the edge. And of course, it's not reprofiled, so the corners are fairly tight. Considering that the new changes have really helped with the racing. I would just like to read out a few of the comments on the YouTube chat. A lot of the people in the chat, a lot of our viewers have said that the safety car ran out of fuel. That is why it didn't come out in the last few laps,
Makes
despite
sense.
the retirement, which I think is fairly plausible considering. I mean, for safety cars during a race, it definitely wasn't best racing to watch. But yeah, as we're on board with Envy, who started his third sector using a bit of his ERS right here.
Yep, that was
Yeah,
definitely an
very, very good
amazing
race from
performance
him.
from Envy today. An amazing quali, beating the entire field by 7 tenths. And through some twisty race conditions, the Aston Martin, Inc. and Karthik threw everything they had at him, but Envy could not just stay held back, and he crosses the line and takes a checkered flag. P1 in this race. What an amazing ride for him. What an amazing one.
Definitely a very, very good comeback from Envy throughout the race. Unfortunate for Karthik today. I mean, he just lacked a bit of his space, and very good defensive masterclass from Inc., who rounds off the podium right here. Dark Knight P4. He really tried. Apologies. He tried to get the P3, but of course there was an incident between him and Inc. So we leave that to the stewards. Tobachuk comes up in P5 right here. Fuzzy Dunlop, of course, we didn't mention him much, just a little bit in the beginning, but he had a very quiet race. But yeah, a solid finish for him. Although now Wilster G is still fighting for that P7 position. Wilster G trying to send it around the outside here. He has the DRS. It'll come down to the line. Who's going to be ahead? Will it be Wilster G? Will it be sort of bad?
It
is Wilster G. He takes it. He takes P7 right here, just by a slight margin. Yeah, very good race, and Kirito finishes the running order of the people who did not DNF P9. Kirito also had a very unfortunate race, but of course he is a reserve, so I think he'll definitely take it. His first race of the season, and that is the race over for today in Tier 21, round 2.
Yep, I just wish we'd have had a lot more finishers, but yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, definitely was a tough race for the drivers. Somehow they all managed to nine drivers finished out of 20. That's quite a demolition job by the circuit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the really experienced drivers as well, who definitely had the pace on them, as well as the cleanliness, just got into unfortunate incidents, and just couldn't stay on track, or got a few penalties here and there. And that really ruined the race. Of course, not to forget that people opting to stay out on multiple safety cars. Perhaps hope that there will be another safety car later down the line. That really screwed them over as well. Although now we can see over here, this is the final finishing order. Of course, pending stewards' decisions, but for now, this is the finishing order. Envy wins the race, has also the fastest lap, so with a 1:23.1. Followed by Karthik, Sub, Inc., Dark Knight, Turbachuk, Fuzzy Dunlop, Wilsterji, Saurav Pat, and Kirito finish the order of the people finish the race. Followed by Alex, Uday, Blaze, Rajesh, Inderdes, go down, Kumar, Mighty All, Sai Tarun, ABD, Mr. Routh, and Deadshot. I think it'll be a good time to bring our drivers in for a podium interview, as we're just looking at the race director over here. Right, all three of our drivers are here. So let's get started with P3 of Inc. Why don't you take it onwards, Deepak?
Yep. So Inc., that was quite a hectic race you had. So why don't you just talk us through what happened there?
Yeah, so first of all, big sorry to Dark Knight. So I didn't move under braking, but I kind of gave him a yellow wing, and like it was a unnecessary move which I did. I'll take full responsibility for it, and I'll accept the penalty that'll be given by the stewards. So from talking about the race and quali, I lost 2 turns in the S section, the final lap, and before that one, the retired car of Uday, I think, was stuck still in the middle of the road, so I narrowly missed it, and I think I lost a bit of time there too. So few of the faster drivers like had okay, went above the leaderboard, went above me in the leaderboard. So I qualified P6 or something. I got a good start, overtook Dark Knight into the first corner. Then I missed Sauropat spinning, and I went to the right, got hit by someone from behind. Then again, I think it was Uday again or Blaze. I forgot. One McLaren car and one Haas. So they collided, and that Haas car took me out. So I had to pit again. Then again, this Alfa Romeo of Rajesh took me out, like squeezed me into the wall, and I had front wing damage. I had to pit again. And on lap 20, we had a lot of safety cars too, so that helped a bit on the tire wear issue. And talking about the strategy, I chose to stay out because like I wasn't confident about the midfield we were having today, because I was almost taken out, slow down. Like I narrowly missed about like 10 incidents, to be honest. So I'll agree it was a bad move from me to block. I don't know what I was doing there, to be honest. Just the like I couldn't do anything. I didn't think that much while defending to Dark Knight, and P3 is a good result. But let's see what happens with after the penalties.
Yep.
Yeah,
That was a lot.
definitely.
Yeah. It was very draining. Like I'm completely drained out now.
And we also did catch your incident with Saurabh, but I think it was down in turn 3. So what just happened there? It just looked like he had turned it. Like, did you not see him coming
Yeah,
through, or was it?
he collided me, and like I couldn't turn left or right, so I went straight with him only. Then I think he braked. I don't know what happened to his side. I saw his front wing on the right side, but before braking itself, he tried like I got my driver showing the hand up. That means like I got hit before that itself. I think he tried to move left side or something, and I know correctly. I should have a chat with Saurabh and discuss what happened there. But like I tried to take the wide line, but I don't know what happened there. I think he was stuck with my like both the wheels were stuck or something. I couldn't move much left towards the left. I had the wall too there. So
Okay.
a lot of incidents and a lot of this thing. So it's a bit like topsy turvy race now. Very hectic one too.
Yeah, it definitely was. Got anything else, Simply?
Yeah, I mean, towards the last few laps when
Yeah.
the last safety car came out.
Yeah.
Ink, were you ever, I mean, of course, there would have certainly been a defend like a lion message that was sent out to because you were leading the race.
Yeah.
Karthik sub, pit along with Envy for softs.
Yeah.
To hope that perhaps Karthik has a lot more pace on softs compared to Envy, and perhaps overtake him there, and then some sort of team orders to get past him. So did you? How much pressure were you under right there, considering that and we moved up a place as well after I believe it was Kirito or Alex. Yeah, it was Alex who made a slight mistake, and that moved Envy up one place, right under the safety car.
Well, to be honest, I think Envy took it very cautiously. I thought like he'll just dive it down the inside in the first lap itself and then overtake. I was like, let us see what he does. So he was taking cautiously. So I also went a bit aggressive, but nothing came from Karthik, to be honest. He was focusing on his race to, overtake Dark Knight. And I did my best to, defend and bunch them up so that Karthik can move up the vertical leaderboard. But Envy, I don't know what to do about him, to be honest. As a coordinator, I don't know what to do. As a driver too, like no one's matching him. He's like 1 second off the P2 guy and etc. So we'll have to do something about him.
Yeah, definitely. And let's move on to our race winner here, AV Envy.
Hi.
So Deepak, why don't you take us on with the interview with Envy?
Yeah. So Envy, we did catch the. I think you had like 2 or 3 two slow pit stops, I think. So I think the first one I didn't think we caught on. So what just happened?
Nothing. I think the pit stops are totally fine. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Okay, I think probably it was some other car, but yeah, my bad.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was definitely looking pretty chill up for you in the front, but the final safety car definitely did throw some complications your way. So
Yeah.
what was going through your mind? Like, how hard are you trying?
What was going through my mind was the previous race, the Great Britain. I don't want to be reminded of that, but yeah, after that Ferrari strategy pit call, I really wanted to redeem myself this time. I was like, yeah, let's just pit on to softs. I have a gap. Let's just see where it goes. And props to Ink, not gonna lie, he defended like like really well. And I was just questioning myself that, why is he like driving so slowly? And then I see Karthik's up right on my like rear end, like holy. But honestly, yeah, after that, I even touched his, what do you say, gearbox at one point with my front wing. But luckily, no damage was done. So yeah, brilliant defending by Ink. But yeah, I managed to slip by.
Definitely, and we just under the last safety car when you guys pit for
Mhm.
softs, did you notice that Karthik did fall back? I'm
Yeah,
not sure because of what, but I did that put a bit of relief in you considering that
it
the
it
drivers
kind
ahead
of
of
did.
you.
It kind of did because as I saw two other players behind me, I was like, okay, fine, Karthik Sub is not a threat to me. And as like after 2 laps, I see Karthik Sub right behind me. I'm like, what? Anyways, yeah.
Fair enough, and we did slightly mess up the order of the interviews, but yeah,
Yeah.
let's. But thank you for your time, and we
Yeah, it was real
congratulations on
tiring,
the
man.
race win.
Very tiring.
Yeah, congratulations on the race win, and let's move on to our P2 sitter Karthik Sub.
Hello.
Hey, so
Karthik, are you there?
that's a very, very hectic race, Karthik.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, chaotic. Most of the action I did not see happen because later, once I finished, I realized that there were like 11 DNFs or something like that. I didn't realize there were that many. The most amount of safety cars I've ever seen in this game. It was pretty crazy. Actually, quali was actually not my best performance because I invalidated my final hot lap. Slightly up. I could not have beaten Envy, but I would have gotten Saurav at the most, I guess. Envy was just way too quick today. Didn't have anything to beat him.
Yeah, I mean, we could see that. Although we were hoping that perhaps you could pull pace that you had last week, with or perhaps even go on to a better strategy like you did last week. Where Envy decided to go on to Inters, and then he had a bit. He had basically second thoughts about what he was doing, whereas you guys stuck what he
Yeah.
decided. So perhaps did you think that maybe if you can't beat him on the race pace, if the team orders are going to be difficult, then perhaps you could beat him on strategy otherwise.
Yeah, whatever strategy I decided to choose on, Envy did pretty much the same. And I think Ink wanted to try something different because he was too scared to get caught up with traffic, and because he had faced a lot of incidents earlier on in the race. So he stayed out on mediums. But he did a great job defending. He was the Alonso to me being Ocon. He defended pretty hard. He held Envy back, but I could catch up, overtake Dark Knight. But after that, I got my penalty, and after that, I realized I could not do anything to beat Envy. So I just kept it clean, slowed down a bit, finished the race in P2.
Fair enough. And from my side, I have just one last question for you. On the safety car restart, were you just hoping that, of course, you would definitely be working with Ink to, make sure you have the best starts. But, did you perhaps think that, I really need to quickly get past Alex and, Fuzzy Dunlop who were ahead of you? I believe there was like two drivers ahead of you. I'm not sure who.
Yeah, it
But
was
yeah,
Alex.
they were really blocking you off there, and then just you were hoping that they went, got into an incident, or just let you by somehow, which they did
Yeah.
get into an incident. And at one point, you were going side by side with Envy. So did
Oh,
you
that
believe
was
that
amazing.
perhaps did you believe that if drivers weren't in your way, and let's just say your pit stop went properly, and you were right on the back of Envy, could you have caught him off guard and gotten him off the line then?
Maybe, perhaps, but still, I think there were 3 or 4 laps towards the end where Envy could have still got me back. There was not much really, but that was really fun though, racing with Envy during the close. I think there were 4 cars at one point: Ink, myself, Envy, and Dark Knight. That was actually the highlight of the race for me.
Yeah, that definitely was the highlight of the race for us as well. There was quite some exhilarating racing going on. Yeah, definitely good job for all of you guys for even finishing that race because that was like
Thank
a
you.
lot of DNFs. But yeah, really good job. I think you guys definitely need a rest after that. So
Oh yeah,
yep.
it's taxing.
All right, boys. Have a good weekend.
All right. Have a good weekend. See you.
All right. On that note, it's me, Deepak, and simply closing off this stream. Be back tomorrow. We are back with our Assetto Corsa Competition, a round 2 happening in Hungary. And later on Sunday, we've got Tier 2 and Tier 1 of F1 2022 on the same circuit, but the new layout. Gonna be interesting to see how the racing pans out over there. But that's it for today. And it's me, Deepak, signing out. And simply
Bye.
bye bye.